Hey YouTube! Most of you guys know that the name of my channel is unintentionally Frenchified because I have been in France for almost 10 years now.
Crazy.
A very long time. And so often, I can't remember when I first got here, all those first impressions, how I was feeling, what it was like with all of the French overload. So I have invited a very special guest today, Miss Sara.
Hi everyone.
You know, you're only the second guest on my channel.
Oh,
I know.
I feel really honored. Actually.
You should. It's only you and Rosie.
Oh, well, she's legit.
Yeah,
so.
don't be.
Yeah,
don't be
I'm
too
like
nervous.
a little nervous now.
It's okay. It's okay. So we've got Sara here today, who has been in France for just a year now.
Yep.
Just celebrated her anniversary, and so we're going to talk to her a little bit about how it's been living here in France.
Let's do it.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Sara, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, how you get to France, you're living in Paris, why?
Yeah, why? It's a good question. So I actually moved with my company for a different job opportunity here in Paris, but the reality is also it was really a personal choice that I wanted to live abroad, and you know, it happened that I came to Paris because of the company, but it was always something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I moved here about a year ago, started a new job, new apartment, new city.
Lots of new things.
New friends.
Did you speak French before you came?
I spoke some French, yes. I took French growing up in school, but it had been like a decade, literally, since I had taken French class to when I moved here. So,
Wasn't the easiest at the beginning?
I wasn't like, woo, super easy, but...
So, most people want to know, for people who have just moved to France, what were the things that shocked you?
Well, I think the thing that shocked me and like still continues to shock me is just kind of how difficult it is to get anything done. And
Surprise, surprise! We've never heard this before.
No, but it could literally be like the most simple thing, and like, or it could be, you know, something like with a bank, which is always difficult, but like just on another level difficult.
Yeah.
So you like go to, I don't know, a store to find like a screwdriver, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have screwdrivers here. And you're like, but this is a screwdriver store. And they're like, well, we're out. And then you're like, okay, well, like, when will you have more? Or can you tell me a different store? And they're just like, no.
And we're closed for the next 5 days, so you can't get your screwdriver
and
until...
it's like 8 more holidays, so sorry.
No, I think a big difference between the US and France is definitely hours. So when living back home, you have stuff open on Sundays. A lot of times they close at 10 p.m. at night. So also in the US, we finish work earlier, so you can have, you know, from 4 to 10 to do all of your errands during the week, and then all day Saturday and Sunday. And in France, like, there's no Sundays, and things close earlier, so that also makes it tricky. There are so many stereotypes, and I've talked about them a lot on my blog, about the stereotypes between French and American. So when you arrived here, were there any stereotypes that you thought were like completely untrue that you had heard?
Yeah, well, I guess it goes with the last like question too, what shocked me.
Yeah.
The stereotype that all French people are super chic is not true. I'm sorry. But I mean, and in what culture is everybody chic?
Yeah.
So when I got here and I realized that, of course, there's people who are super chic, super well dressed, super, you know, cool. Like, there's just all the other people, like there aren't any other country like us.
They look like us.
Pretty much. No, but really, like, they're just normal people, you know?
No, for sure. I think we get such a bad rap in the US for underdressing, being very casual. I don't think it's the same for Sara, but when I went to college, I went to the university in my pajamas every day, and that was like totally appropriate. And so you get to, like, you hear that coming to France, everybody dresses up all the time. And like you said, yes, people dress up maybe a bit more. You don't see as many people in their sweatpants and their workout gear. But you don't need to be in like stiletto heels walking around all the time.
Yeah.
There are, of course, lots of stereotypes that are completely true, so I won't make you name all of them, but what would be like the #1 stereotype for the French that you would say
for me,
you saw?
The thing is, like, people love bread here, and that is not a joke. Like, that is 100% real, and people do, like, carry their baguettes around on the street like all the time with like a newspaper under their arm, like whatever, in a bike. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah. You know, I always wondered too, does anyone think about the germs on their baguette when they're carrying it? Like they set them down, like you come to the store, you put it here, you do this, and the only part that's wrapped up is the part that you hold. And French people just don't mind.
Yeah, and people let it like stick out of their bag and like it's raining or like people smack it like walking by.
The baguette is just an accessory that everybody's got.
Super chic.
So I know how much you love bread, so I'm sure that you carry your baguette around under your arm all the time now. Yeah. Are there any other French habits you've totally picked up since being here?
Well, I think I've like overall gotten a lot pickier about like French things like wine and cheese and stuff because like with cheese, for instance, I didn't, in the US you'll like get mac and cheese and it's just called mac and cheese on the menu, and like here
you have
it's
no
like,
idea what cheese.
Yeah, and here it's like very specific cheese from a very specific region on the macaroni, if there's macaroni, and you have to like know the geography of France in order to say like, do I like this cheese or not?
Totally.
And now I find myself like doing that. So when I like go to a store and they're like, we have red wine, I'm like, where is that from? Like, what region?
I haven't gotten that. I'm like, oh my god, it's €3. I'll take it.
Oh.
And side note, where do you find macaroni and cheese in Paris?
Oh, I don't, but it was just an example.
Obviously, Paris isn't all of France, but you live in Paris and we live here. So what would you say is your favorite thing about the city?
I think just the sheer beauty of the city is totally impressive and doesn't stop to kind of like stop you in your tracks daily, you know?
Yeah, totally. I actually think as well during summer, like when it's sunny and shiny outside, you walk along the Seine and I feel like I'm a tourist, like literally seeing things for the first time. Yeah. It's so beautiful.
It's just really nice.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a winner that way. Obviously, no city is perfect, and as much as we love Paris, what would be the thing, if you could change one thing about the city, what would you change?
It's actually really easy for me because I know. I would put air conditioning in the metro.
Oh, can you imagine what summers would be like with some air conditioning on the line 13?
I honestly can't. Like, I just...
Is there air conditioning in New York?
Yeah.
Sarah lived in New York before.
Yeah. Of course, there's in the subway, but not in the station.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's not called the metro.
Yes.
It's called the subway.
Details.
But there is, I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the subway, but not in the station. So the station's super hot, but then you get in the subway and you're like refreshed. Here, it's like the inverse. So the station is like hot, but not like stifling. And then you get in the train car with a bajillion people who are just sweating in the heat and like no airflow, and you're just like, ah!
Totally. Got it. I would
change that.
I would vote for that.
Yeah.
So it's been a year. What do you miss the most about back home?
I miss mostly my friends and family.
Irreplaceable.
People are irreplaceable.
Yeah.
No, but you really like feel that much more when you move kind of across the world. And you have to make all new friends and like, you know.
Do you think it was hard making friends? Like in general, did you find it hard? But also, have you made any French friends? Because that's a huge stereotype that it's really hard to make French girlfriends like quickly because it takes a while to get to know someone. Do you think that
the majority of my friends are not French because you just kind of like flock together when you're here? But no, I mean it's slow going.
Yeah. Sarah's looking for friends, guys. Her phone number is below. I'm kidding. What's your favorite French phrase? Or French word, if it's a word?
Oh, there's one that just like kills conversations. It just means like, yep, that's it, this is done. Voilà quoi.
Voilà quoi. I really like bah ouais.
Bah ouais.
It's like my favorite thing to do when someone says something and you're like, well, duh. You're just like, bah ouais. I say that a lot. For all of those people dying to move to Paris, and I get a lot of questions about this, what would be your one advice to them when moving abroad?
Yeah. My experience was that I moved here with my company, so I had a reason, even if I didn't have friends, family, apartment, anything else. And I think that was like really important for me, especially when you're like struggling through being new in a city, to have like something that grounds you and some reason to kind of be.
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend to someone else. Not necessarily a job, but school or...
Just like feel like you have a purpose for being here than just... dawdling around.
Yeah, otherwise it's like,
Okay.
is this really my life? Am I just a tourist for a long time? Or like, what's going on?
Yeah. I've decided with all of the guests on my channel, I will be doing a special game at the end called Rapid Fire Questions. I'm sure you all know. So this one is going to be ones about France.
Oh,
Are you
surprise!
ready?
I wasn't prepared for that.
All right, so ready?
Yeah.
Croissant versus pain au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat.
Rive gauche ou rive droite?
Rive droite, for sure.
Metro, bus, or velib?
Metro, when it works, it's faster than the other things.
And bus, if anyone cares. I love the bus here. Red wine or white?
Red.
South of France or north of France?
Ooh, I'm more familiar with the north, so I would say north.
Not bad. A lot of people say the south for the weather, so I like that you're a little bit
that's
different.
true.
No. Keep it north. North. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Bars or clubs?
Bars, for sure.
Soft or hard cheese?
Soft.
You like the smelly cheese? I hate the smell in the refrigerator.
Yeah, that's bad. That's true.
Eiffel Tower or Arc de Triomphe?
Eiffel Tower.
Okay. All right, guys, that's all the time that we have with our lovely guest, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us.
Letting me.
Of course. I'm sure we didn't go over all of the different first impressions you can have living in France. So if you have other things to add, don't hesitate to like, to comment, and to share the video. You can also check out more stuff on my blog, unintentionallyfrenchified.com. The link is below. And if you want to follow any of my adventures on Instagram at unintentionallyfrenchified. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye. Au revoir.